Greetings, fellow loyalists, heretics, xenos, and other assorted entities of Warhammer 40k. This is Arendelft and
XLPuDDing.
And today we're doing a dual review on, pretty much it's the Dawn of War 3 announcement trailer. Which, of course, by now pretty much everyone's seen.
That's interested.
It's pretty straightforward, whatnot, but we're to go ahead and watch it for everyone's sake as a little reminder and get started on that.
Yep. Here we go.
There is a terrible darkness ascending upon the galaxy, and we shall not see it ended in our lifetimes. Inquisitor Chaza.
I still think this whole scene is...
Oh, the bodies falling.
Yeah, the bodies falling is odd.
Well, it's a representation of...
it's a representation of carnage.
Which is pretty much what Warhammer 40k is. They emphasize that again and again and again. This, of course, is symbolic of their servitude to the Emperor above all things.
The Corpse God.
The God Emperor.
The Corpse God.
God Emperor. Though, even as a loyalist, it bugs me to see them just sitting there getting shot. I mean...
At first I didn't think they were getting shot. Literally, at first I thought they were getting hit by...
pelty.
Yeah,
like
rock stands or something, yeah.
Yeah, and at first that's what I thought too. And then when the guy even when the guy got hit in the cheek, I suspected they were being shot. But when he looks up, and at first the orcs coming down looks like the statue's crumbling. And I think, oh, this is a symbology of the rocks are hitting them. And then the orcs came down, I was like, oh.
Yeah, and then the orcs just ripped apart all the Space Marines.
Including the Banshees,
Of course, to be fair, they were outnumbered by tenfold.
Yeah. Though actual Space Marines could handle those odds.
So if you're going by that scene where he holds up the Banshee's hair or whatever the hell it's called, does that mean that the orcs won the battle?
I'm at least that particular one.
Part of it?
The impressive thing here is that they show the Space Marine actually bringing this walker to a dead stop. With sheer strength. Before the thing's like, oh, I'll just chop you in half.
Go, Gretchen, go.
And then it gets blown up.
This thing.
I know there are Eldar Titans.
This isn't a Titan, obviously.
I know, it's not a Titan. It's just...
I think it's a Wraith Lord. Or Wraith, or whatever the heck they're called.
They're Wraith Lords and Wraith Knights.
I just think it was misinterpreted the size in Dawn of War.
Well, I know there are different sizes and different kinds. They just had to find one that was the same size as the Imperial Knights. And I know the Imperial Knight being chopped in half wouldn't kill it, but it would cripple it. This, however, would kill the Wraith.
No, it doesn't explain how he dies.
I assume something landed on him.
If something landed on him, you wouldn't be in the body smiling.
You would be kind of just a paste.
Here's the favorite part. Boom!
Yeah.
I hate the smile. Smile bugs me. No point for it.
He's like, I'm dying serving the Emperor. I need to smile about that.
And then he gets crippled by an orc, Xeno, smashing his face in.
Oh, no, he was already dead. You can't cripple somebody who's already dead.
Whatever.
Oh. Alright. Well, we'll go ahead and X that out there. And, yeah, so your impression of the video as a whole.
Did it get me excited like it was supposed to? No. Not
at all. I mean, literally, since there's no gameplay or anything, that video's whole purpose is to get people... Well, one, it's announcing the game, that it's gonna happen. Two, it's not telling us truly anything about the game, it's just a cinematic. The whole purpose is to hype us. So
I know, but that's why I said it.
It didn't.
I mean, me personally, who's been paying attention to Dawn of War 3 for a long time and reading up all the announcements, even when THQ had the license before they went under, they had already announced Dawn of War 3.
True, but when Sega took over, everything ground to a halt.
Well, yeah.
So we've been waiting since then to see if anything will actually come of it.
But Relic's been hinting over the years that they're still developing a Dawn of War game.
Yeah, but alone, how far could they get with that?
They're not alone. Of course Sega was going to sponsor them.
True.
I don't know. It just didn't show... I don't know. Just didn't excite me.
When I first watched it, I gotta say, I actually was a little hyped. There were a few scenes where I was kind of confused. Like when the Wraith Knight, whatever it was, chopped the Imperial Knight in half. I was like, what? What kind of fight is that? I thought they were going to duke it out. And, of course, then the other Imperial Knight just saws that thing to pieces. But what I was hoping to see was an actual straight-up toe-to-toe battle between them. But, you know, you can't honestly just get that.
No, because it killed one, and then the other one came in and surprise attacked it.
Well, it knew both were coming. It was trying to turn. Long story short, even though the other Imperial Knight didn't die, it was crippled, and in an ensuing battle, because you saw two other Wraith Knights, don't know where they went.
Right.
That would be a losing fight. The Space Marines would lose that hands down, assuming the Imperial Knight was a Space Marines.
Yeah, that's the next thing. We already know that according to pictures that have been posted and everything else, there's only going to be 3 races.
Right.
So you're assuming the Imperial Knight is going to Space Marines.
Yes.
That's just Astartes.
Well, it's definitely... I mean, I know orcs have got their large walkers that are around that size, but that Imperial Knight obviously was Imperial.
So what did they give the Imperial Guard?
I don't think Imperial Guard ever get Imperial Knights. I don't know.
Or the Inquisition.
We've only just started.
I guess the Inquisition could get the Grey Knight Walker, that dread thing.
Well, that's true. That thing would be discernibly small.
Well, that's the size of a dreadnought, but...
Yeah. But, honestly, for those who are wondering, we just started into the tabletop game. We're venturing into that area right now, but we've both been in... Well, at least I've been in Warhammer 40k lore for a long time.
I've played all major games, and have paid attention to all major games being released.
Yes. And I haven't played as many of the major games as he has. However, I always pay attention to the lore. Lore is pretty much my whole world, and those who are familiar with our True PC Gaming dual reviews will know that the campaign is always the first thing that I dive into headfirst. So, well, honestly, the trailer did get me somewhat hyped, and I got, neck down deep into it. But it left me lacking in a lot of areas. We won't even start on the fact that Space Marines are super soldiers and should be capable of more than what the video showed in more ways than one. We're not even going to get started into that because that's a whole other...
But that's your main point. You in this video game, you want them to be what they are.
Yes, but for the sake of balancing, I have to let go of my...
That's right.
Ethos, I suppose. It's a good way to put it. But long story short, not many things can challenge Space Marines because they are the elite the entire Imperium pretty much has to offer. Besides that of, Titans are the pinnacle pretty much of the technology, where training-wise, Astartes are the pinnacle. Unless you read Ben Counter's works, and he makes Grey Knights look like pansies in power armor.
Never read them.
Yeah, well, in any case, in my not so humble opinion, Dan Abnett is the unquestionable best author in the entirety of the Black Library.
But we're not talking about books, we're talking about this trailer.
Right, well, this particular trailer obviously showed no gameplay. All it showed was basically 3 different races. I assume that was a big part of the point of it. Show what races we'd be playing. Unlike Dawn of War 1 introduced 4 races in the original.
What was it? Space Marines, Chaos, Eldar, and Orcs, right? No. Yes.
Yes. Because though the Imperial Guard were featured in the campaign, you couldn't actually, play multiplayer with them or anything like that.
And then Winter Assault brought Imperial Guard.
Yes.
And then Dark Crusade brought Necrons.
And then Soulstorm brought 2 races.
And Tau. Dark Crusade brought Necrons and Tau.
Okay. Then Soulstorm brought Dark Eldar and Sisters of Battle, which in the tabletop game, Sisters of Battle are starting to vanish.
Yeah,
well.
Then you've done over 2.
Now, I know introduced Eldar, Space Marines, and Orcs. Was there a 4th race Dawn of War 2 introduced?
No, said I think.
Oh, so it looks like with Dawn of War 3, they might be just taking a page out from Dawn of War 2, which I really, really, really think they shouldn't do.
Because
Dawn of War 2...
Chaos Rising brought Chaos.
Yeah, and then...
Retribution brought Imperial Guard. I think that's it.
Yeah, that pretty much spells it out.
Are there Tyranids as an actual playable race, or are they just...
Oh, yeah, Tyranids are also playable.
I don't know when they were brought then. Or
I believe in Retribution. I mean, in the trailer, Tyranids are featured quite strongly.
So, but yeah, you can't play the Necrons, even though you have a Necron character in The Last Stand. You can't play the Tau, even though it's the same thing.
Yep. So I'm pretty sure in expansions, or for that matter, DLC, or pre-order the game and get Chaos free.
Yeah, that's probably what they're going to do, just like Creative Assembly did with the fantasy one, the Warhammer Total War.
Yep, and we're really dreading that. We're really hoping that they don't do that, but I think it was Angry Joe who got mad at them for it, and they stood their ground and said, no, we're going to do it anyway.
Yep, they never took the pre-bonus off. And me as a Chaos player, that sucks.
Yes, he's a heretic.
So, but yeah, I mean, at least everyone who likes the Space Marines, Eldar, and Orcs will always, it seems to be, get their races.
Yep. There's no winning there. That's pretty much going to be a wall, and it looks like they're going to repeat it with Chaos. It's probably going to be DLC that is available at release.
That, or they wait until an expansion is released a year or so later to release. But how can you do that? Chaos is like...
Where the Imperium is, where there's a huge battle, Chaos pretty much has to be there. I'm sorry, it's...
I mean, it doesn't have to be.
I know, but none of those 3 races that they showed were arch enemies. They were just enemies. Chaos and the Imperium are arch enemies.
Well, the Orcs just hate everybody, so everyone's their arch enemy.
Well, actually, they're just really angry and want everyone to die.
And then the Eldar have the Necrons.
Yep, though they obviously don't get along with the Dark Eldar. So the the Eldar kind of have 2 arch enemies. They have the Dark Eldar and the Necrons, like you said. So, arch enemy wise, at least there's 2 in that area.
It just went with like the 3 core races that are, I mean, I would believe just easy to get into that a lot of people like, I guess. I mean, I don't know anyone who plays Eldar at least as main, but Orc and Space Marines are definitely up there, the most popular.
True. Eldar, I haven't even actually, at our local shop that we've been learning the tabletop game, I haven't even seen anyone's playing an Eldar army yet.
Imperial Guard, Orcs, Space Marines, very little Chaos. But that could be because of the state that apparently Chaos is in the board game.
Ah, yes. Chaos has been heavily nerfed.
Or just the others have been uplifted and they're still left.
That's true. They've been left in the dust.
But, yeah, I mean, this trailer, in my opinion, did give any... I want to see actual gameplay, because that's what matters to me. As a Dawn of War fan, there are people in both camps, whether you like Dawn of War 2, whether you like Dawn of War, whether you like the in-between, which kind of what Company Heroes was. Company Heroes 1 at least, and then Company Heroes 2 kind of went more towards the Dawn of War 2.
No base, more unit emphasis. Mind you, for a long time, we've been talking about emphasizing units. But we did not mean at the cost of the base. I do not know how that got factored in. I don't know why their minds took that track. But while it was an interesting concept, it was their only concept. And it did not take very long at all for the fans to say, hey, this was stupid.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody, but you can tell by people who are still playing and modding Dawn of War 1 compared to people who are still playing and modding Dawn of War 2.
Yeah, there is a huge difference in the amount of people as far as I've been able to see. And the Apocalypse mod for Dawn of War 1 is honestly amazing. I mean, you'd expect it to be full of so many glitches, and honestly, it's a pretty stable program. I mean, there's a huge basis for that.
Yep. Lord Cylon did a good job.
So,
but we looked up gameplay videos, and, you know, people are posting their video. While they talk about Dawn of War 3, they're posting videos in the background of the Apocalypse mods. I don't know if some people are getting confused that it's Dawn of War 3 gameplay because they haven't seen the mod or not, but it isn't.
No, they're, if it looks like Dawn of War graphics, Dawn of War 1 graphics, it's because it is. Yeah.
So, I mean, what's the things that you want from Dawn of War 3?
Base building. I want it back, and I do mean the whole 9 yards. Without a shadow of a doubt, I want more than 3 races. And campaign-wise, since that's my specialty, I want to see Imperial versus Chaos.
And would you go with a story-driven campaign, like the first and first Dawn of War and the first expansion, Winter Assault?
Yes.
Or would you go with the Galactic Conquest map that
Dark Crusade and
Soulstorm
offered? You know what?
Or heck, for that matter, you could even go with a campaign that Dawn of War 2 went with.
Yes. And while the original Dawn of War 2 campaign had more to it than even Dark Crusade and Soulstorm, they weakened it dramatically in Chaos Rising, and then even more so in Retribution, to the point where it was a joke. And even if it was incredibly interactive, more so than all of them combined, I still at this point want a purely story-driven campaign that's about the Blood Ravens. I want to know where they're going. Mind you, I'm interested in the other races. I want to know where they're going. But that's where you do separate campaign. You know, you can do expansions based on them. And honestly, the Blood Ravens, everybody wants to know, you know, who their Primarch is, where they're from, what their founding legion was back in the day. And everyone has their, you know, suspicions. From what I've read and, you know, deducted over the years, I suspect that they may be Thousand Sons, you know, ancestors. And that in order to hide their ancestry, those who knew just didn't pass it down to the new Space Marines and let it kind of die out with them, the secret of it. That's my suspicions. And I want to find out for sure. And that would honestly be one of the biggest reasons why I want a story-driven campaign, to find out for sure. And then I want the Eldar, who have been working alongside the Blood Ravens for so long. I mean, there's a lot of times where they collaborated, and a lot of times where they fought. But I want something from that area. And of course, for orcs, you know, that's where you get your good old-fashioned carnage. If they want to throw a campaign in there for that, where you're just blowing crap up for the sheer sake of it, I ain't gonna complain. And one of the biggest reasons why I want Chaos in there is because when you get when you get Space Marines, you should have Chaos Space Marines.
To be honest, he only wants Chaos in it because that's what's gonna get me interested, and he wants someone to play with.
It's not the only reason. I like to kill some heretics, and I like them to be big, bad, but ugly heretics.
Well, in your opinion, Chaos is the only thing that can stand toe-to-toe with the Imperium of the Astartes.
Yes, the Adeptus Astartes. In my not-so-humble opinion, they are the pinnacle of super soldiers, and have that ability to take down pretty much everything because of their hyper-reflexes, because of their strength, because of their hyper-reflexes combined with speed. No, they're absolutely everything you would want in a soldier, not to mention sheer durability. And also intelligence.
So what I will want from Dawn of War 3 is I want them to take a page out of the modding community and look at what the Apocalypse mod did. I mean, in that mod, it's on apocalyptic scale. You still have your base building. Your hero you can upgrade mid-combat to and its gear actually changes on the field if he changes it.
They got that out of Dawn of War 2.
Right, but I mean they implemented it differently.
True, they did. I actually like the way they implemented it.
You can upgrade your units. Chaos actually has similar units to the Space Marines.
Oh boy, Dawn of War 1, they could not conceive of a Chaos Dreadnought.
No, the closest you got was like the Defiler, and that's artillery.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a walker, but it's different. But it's a demon machine.
Yeah, that's actually true. It is a demon machine.
So.
But, when you're Chaos Space Marines, you want the Chaos Dreadnought. I mean, sure, they've got their differences, but chaos be chaos.
Yeah, but anyone who wants to change, you haven't played Dawn of War 1 in a long time, and you want a fresh, different gameplay, because it feels like a completely new game. If you love Dawn of War, go to ModDB website and just look up Ultimate Apocalypse. It's the #1 mod for Dawn of War 1. And download it. It has some... they've got an installer now that makes it super simple to install. Yes. You only have to download maybe a couple different folders depending on if you have the CD version or if you're using Steam. Install it. And if you have any issues, comment. I can definitely help you. I've installed it on a lot of computers. So I could definitely do a tutorial. But the actual mod creator did his own tutorial on how to install it. But you'll get the sense of what I want from Dawn of War 3. I mean, obviously I want the better looking graphics. I want the Space Marine feel of when you hit an orc, you feel his bones crushing underneath your power sword or your chain sword, the different weapons you use when you shoot him. I want to feel their body get hit by that bullet. I want all of it in one, which is hard. I mean, I know that us as fans of Warhammer are expecting probably a lot out of this game, and that's why it's going to get critiqued harshly. But yeah.
I can definitely say that while I hope for the best, I expect the worst. Because I've been disappointed so much with Dawn of War. At this point, how can you expect it to turn out into the beautiful creation we want it to be? I mean, Dawn of War 2 and StarCraft 2 were practically coming out side by side, almost at the same time. And StarCraft 2 flattened it.
True.
And
they were supposed to be the same universe.
Oh yeah, back in the day with Blizzard at the time, and before they became Active Blizzard approached, what was it, Games Workshop?
I think, yeah, they wanted to make a Warhammer Fantasy game, which would have eventually, probably, if they gotten the rights, would have turned into a 40,000 game. So.
Yep, and they got turned down. And so instead, if you look at the similarities between StarCraft and Warhammer, I mean, Warhammer 40k even, either
Warcraft,
or fantasy, sci-fi.
Warcraft compared to fantasy, StarCraft compared to 40k.
You will see similarities, sure. In the StarCraft, the Protoss were a very unique take on Xenos, or aliens. And I actually like them, but the Terrans, the Zerg especially, are such a close, not perfectly close, but very close representation of the Tyranids. They basically just said, hey, since we can't have your game, we're going to take concepts of them, spin them off on our own tangent, and do what we will. And the thought, to me, that Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40k could be where Warcraft and StarCraft are, is mind-blowing.
Yep.
Now, there's no guarantee that had that deal actually gone through, that they would have gone where those two were, but they already had background, they already had popularity. StarCraft and Warcraft came from nothing.
Yep.
I have little doubt in my mind that that is where it would have gone, and
so hopefully they don't take all our hopes and dreams and try so hard to make a good game and make it fail because they're trying so hard. But
well, that's a good point. If they try too hard in too many different areas. So they should start out slow. I understand why they're only tackling 3 races, and for that matter, the core races. But I am hoping if there's one more race I could hope for, and not just so I can get this heretic in the game.
And don't make it DLC. I'm willing to wait for pre-order. We'll make it an expansion. If at all. So
yes, please don't make it pre-order. We're begging you. Don't do it.
But yeah, that's all I have to say about it.
Well, we are eagerly awaiting the gameplay. Hopefully it comes out soon.
Yeah, we'll keep you updated on any news that we hear about Dawn of War 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
And other games that are coming out, because there's a lot of them.
Yes.
There's a new Space Hulk game coming out, where you're first-person shooter Terminators.
And there's an Eisenhorn game coming out, which is especially big for me, because I read the Eisenhorn and Ravener.
I think that one's out now. Maybe.
It is?
I don't know the exact date. I know it might have been close to releasing. I'm not sure. It might be out by the release of this video. And then you have Battlefleet Armada.
Oh, Armageddon?
Yeah.
Armada or Armageddon?
I don't know the name. The one based on the board game.
Yeah, well, basically those giant freaking ships, they're all within realms of Warhammer 40k. In the trailers, I haven't seen any Eldar ships yet. I'm looking forward to that.
No, they're releasing Eldar. Right now, I think they have Imperial, like the Imperial Fleet or whatever the heck they call it, the Imperium. They have the Chaos Fleet, and they have the Orc Fleet.
I haven't seen Orc ships either. I've only seen Imperials so far. But in any case, we were very glad to have you. We look forward to seeing you next time. And don't get into too much trouble, or do. Always up to you. Toodles!